it going, everybody? This is Mike with UC Power Sports. We're here at the Parts Unlimited Expo over here in Louisville, Kentucky. We're at the KFI booth right now talking about winches, tiger tails, and plows coming soon to UC Power Sports in Louisville, New York. We're interested in new KFI winch technology like the Assault Series, or more so synthetic rope winches, stuff that would be better for our customers.
Absolutely. I mean, synthetic rope's obviously great for plowing. Kind of going through the different winches we obviously have the standard series. They're going to be a little bit more budget friendly. They all do come with the steel cable. Looking over at the Assaults, these are our newer, more premium line of winches. So, you're looking at, they're definitely a little bit less budget friendly, but they're going to be a much higher quality winch, especially if you're dealing with a lot of moisture that you're plowing. The guys down south that play in mud a lot. The 25, 3,500 pound options, you can get both in steel cable and synthetic cable. The 5,000 pound is just the synthetic cable, so we have a 5,000 and then a 5,000 pound wide winch. So definitely if you got something where you have a lot of moisture, this is going to be the winch for you. Plowing wise, synthetic's obviously the way to go. It's much more malleable and works a little bit better with plowing.
Okay.
So other than that, we could go over to the Tiger Tail here. Tiger Tail is basically a 12-foot retractable toe strap. So it's got 12,000 pound brake strength. You put it either a 2-inch or an 1.25-inch receiver. You pull it out, it'll bottom out at a hardened shaft at 12 feet. You hook it up to the guy that's stuck, start pulling away. It's going to maintain a constant tension with the recoil spring and the cap here, so no electronics or anything like that. A lot of times it's a little bit quicker than a winch. It's a little bit tougher when you start, doing the yanking and stuff like that. So works great. Again, big thing for the guys down south if they're playing around with a lot of mud. It's very big for that.
So basically, this is going to be your toughest option for a retractable, we'll call it a retractable toe strap.
Essentially, yep.
This is going to make it so you don't have to hold it, you don't have to carry it. It's attached to the machine at all times. When you need it, it's there most.
Absolutely.
Cool. Now, we like plows. We try to package every CF motor with a plow over at UC Power Sports. We're not very good at explaining the different options that we have. I know you guys have a ton of new stuff here today that you want to show us.
Yep.
So let's take a look at that too.
Absolutely. So we got two main different styles of straight blades. What you're looking at here is our steel blade. So it shows a couple different styles. Obviously over here is showing the ATV. It doesn't have the extra gusset. Over here is the bigger sizes. Once you get into the 66, 72, has that extra gusset for a little bit of extra weight. Here's our ATV push tube here, so it's a little bit longer for the mid-mount system. So steel blade we've had around for quite a bit, quite a long time. Works real good.
Is that a UHMW?
It is, yeah. So UHMW add-on wear bar works great if you got guys that are doing gravel or like grass plowing.
Even stone?
Stuff like that. Me personally, I use it because I push it into my yard. So to prevent from sodding up that grass when it's still a little bit soft out, the UHMW holds quite a little bit better. But
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And moving on to the Pro Poly, this has been a huge thing recently. Me personally, I would prefer the Pro Poly. I think a lot of people do when you're looking at side-by-sides. Yeah. It's a little bit more proportionally correct because it sits about 7-8 inches taller than the steel blade. Price-wise, retail is about $115 more expensive, but for the product that you're getting, I think it's definitely worth it. Like I said, me personally, I prefer that. So it's got 3/16 ribbing all through the length of the plow, and then the only part that's poly is the actual sheet itself. So I think.
But there's no sacrifice to strength. That's right. Strong plastic.
Yeah. Most people hear poly and they think light duty. Our poly is not built that way. It weighs the same as ours. It's actually about a pound or two heavier than our steel blade.
Okay.
But strength-wise, we've noticed no real difference between the two. Durability, you're going to get just as much out of the poly plow as you will out of the steel plow.
Just a different option.
Absolutely. I mean, moving on to our V-blade is obviously the new big thing for us this year. Is we don't have one here to show you, but
we saw it in the book.
Yep.
That thing is seriously cool.
Yeah, 80 inches wide when you're in the straight. I want to say 75 in the scoop and then 72 in the V, or vice versa. I don't remember exactly, but weight-wise, it's about 250 pounds lighter than most of the competition. So if you were to look at like a Boss plow, something like that, significantly lighter. It's much easier on the machine.
And I'm assuming it's more available as well.
Yes.
The Boss plow is going to come with a certain level of, expected, we'll call it inventory, and those are a little harder to get than your KFI stuff, which is made in the USA.
Yes, absolutely. All of our stuff, plow-wise, is all made at our manufacturing facility in Spring Valley, Minnesota. So we do all of this stuff ourselves. So I mean, the V-plow is, like I said, we've been working on it for about 4 years. Finally got it to the point where we feel we're happy with it, really ready to release it out there. So we've done pretty well with it this year. So that's kind of our biggest thing. It's based off our Pro Poly technology, so it's basically the same as our straight bait Pro Poly. It's just got the 2 independent rings. You could either do a manual option, or we do have the actuator option as well. So
let's get a look at that. So that is an actual electric over hydraulic system. That's not a gear-driven ram. That is seriously tough equipment there.
This is basically our standard UTV push tube setup for a straight blade with the actuator on it. So obviously we still do have the manual option where you just pull the pin to rotate, but the hydraulic is really nice, especially if you got one of those machines with a cab and a heater. You go out there in your shorts and a t-shirt and stay in the machine.
And that hydraulic kit can be added to almost any UTV push tube that you have.
Yep.
So if you didn't purchase it with the hydraulic kit, we can add it on.
Absolutely.
After the fact.
Yep.
That's pretty nice. I see you've got winch straps here. Is this for the person that they're pretty much only using their winch for a plow?
Correct.
This is probably not going to break as often as the winch rope or the wire rope.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of mentioned it earlier. Steel plowing is really not great for it's like bending a paper clip. It's just going to snap right away. You're using the same 12 to 18 inches of cable. Synthetic's going to be kind of a step up from that. The issue is synthetic cable is a little bit spendy to replace, especially ours is all dynamic cable. It's very high quality synthetic cable. So if you break one of those, most guys are just going to retie it and say you're good. But once you get to the point where you want to replace that, it can be a little bit spendier. Something like this retails for about $27. So if you're just using your machine for plowing, you take your synthetic or even your steel cable off in the wintertime, replace it with this, then it's going to be much more durable for plowing. The flat is an inch and a quarter wide, so it's going to hold up much better just rolling over that fairway for plowing.
Yeah.
It's also got a safety breakaway feature. So on an ATV, if you got the guy where his winch gets stuck or he pulls it up to hit the bottom of the machine and holds it there instead of wrecking either his push tube, his winch, or something on the bottom of the machine, this is actually going to tear away at, I want to say it's about 4,300 pounds. That'll tear away to prevent doing damage from anything else in the system.
That's actually good. So you've an engineered sacrificial part.
Yes. Yep. Like
That's
I said, it's
nice.
much easier to replace a $26 part versus wrecking something on your machine.
Yep.
So.
And we do stock 2 of these in the shop at all times, and we do the installs, I believe, for an hour of labor. So pretty cheap alternative to constantly replacing winch leads every single year.
Absolutely.
Great. That is freaking awesome. I thank you for their time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
If you guys have questions, we can ask us. We'll ask them, and we'll get you guys set up. And pretty soon, we will have a U10 Pro at our shop with the full hydraulic V-plow. So check in soon for that.